And president of the Crime Prevention Research Center, Dr. John Lott, tells One America News that there is a consistent pattern when it comes to mass shooters picking their targets. One America's John Hines has more from Washington.
Almost all mass shootings occur in locations that prohibit the possession or use of firearms. That according to the Crime Prevention Research Center. And Dr. John Lott, president of the Crime Prevention Research Center, I'm wondering if that is true also with respect to the most recent tragic shooting at the private Presbyterian parochial Nashville Covenant School.
Yeah, I mean, it should be obvious that people should be asking this type of question at this point, but the mainstream media just absolutely refuses to mention this information when it comes out. We haven't seen what the writings of this murder was in the Nashville school, but the police chief there has made it clear that there was, in fact, another target that this killer had originally planned on attacking until she discovered that, or realized that they had armed security measures there. And, unfortunately, this school was a gun-free zone that had banned people being able to go and carry guns for protection. This is just a continuation of a pattern. You look at something like the Buffalo mass murderer last year, where in his manifesto, he explicitly talks about what type of places would be his ideal places to attack, that he wanted to attack a place that banned permanent concealed handguns, because that would make it a lot easier for him to go and kill lots of people. But the media refuses to talk about these things. On
your website, I think you say you have the statement from a police spokesman. There was another location that was mentioned, but because of a threat assessment by the suspect of too much security, they decided not to do that. So they went to this Covenant school. So that is word for word what the police spokesperson said there. You're right.
Right. I mean, the police chief. And isn't that newsworthy? Isn't that newsworthy, not just for the local news in places like you, but isn't that newsworthy for the New York Times or Washington Post or ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, MSNBC? But apparently it's not. And the thing is, that's not an unusual thing to happen. This happens time after time when you read the diaries or manifestos for these mass murderers. And yet the media doesn't seem to care why these guys pick the targets that they do. You don't think we could learn something, or the general public could learn something about how to stop these attacks by reading and finding out about why these guys picked the particular places they did to do the attacks? And yet the mainstream media doesn't seem to think this is newsworthy at all.
So what you're saying is that people who commit mass murders, even though they may be mentally imbalanced, apparently have the wherewithal to determine whether a target is soft or not. And one of the reasons they seem to choose schools is because typically schools are gun-free zones. Is that more or less accurate, sir?
Well, I mean, there are thousands of schools in the United States that have armed teachers. Those aren't the ones that they're attacking. The ones that they're attacking are these schools that don't allow it.
Look, I think you have some statistics about schools that are where there are armed teachers or armed guards, right? Is that right?
Yeah, where there are armed teachers, there hasn't been any of these attacks when anybody's been wounded or killed. Not one. All the attacks, despite 20 states and having thousands of schools that have armed teachers and staff, they're not attacking those schools. All the schools that they attack are the ones where teachers and staff are banned from being able to go and have guns.
Dr. John Lott, president of the Crime Prevention Research Center, talking about this most recent shooting at the school in Nashville, Tennessee. Sir, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, John. I appreciate you being there.